Race owned 70% of the slave ships.
White? White?
Nope. What race owns 85% of the media companies?
I would say white.
Nope. What race is 80% of big corporation CEOs?
Caucasian.
Nope. What?
Shalom. First and foremost, and give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash, double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who ruled well and taught me this truth. Peace, blessings, salutations, and mercies to the elect, and the one-third remnant out there listening and doing his word with all faith and sincerity, scattered amongst the nations and the four corners of the earth. To you I say shalom, Lord willing. This video is edifying. It's going to be sent around the video that is playing on the screen. And plot twist is that they're both right. But in this upside down world in which we all live in, they've been made to believe that they are a different lineage of the small hats when they are the same lineage. It's just that, your brother is selfish, right? Amalek, right? They're the devil. They're devils, man. Esau himself
85%.
vowed to slay his own brother. So why would his seed not be, the same? Okay. And we know this man's characteristics, his personality. And he's very, very greedy. Okay. He's a snake, right? the serpent himself. Okay. And everything about him is crooked. So he is that way with himself. All right. And he's got his own revealing his wickedness. Right. He got the parts of the Edomites that were left out, or what you would call collateral damage. They're upset because that's majority, right? That's majority of Edomites out there, man. They're not partaking in what this devil is benefiting from. Maybe, yeah, they do have a higher classification than a Jake would, but in the grand scheme of things, they're, they losing too, right? That's why it's so much unrest, right? It's so much frustration, okay? This is Job 15:6. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I, yea, thine own lips testify against thee, right? And he's talking about all the ways in which the average everyday American is getting fucked over, right? When it comes to your taxes, when it comes to who owns everything, right? Who is really profiting and benefiting? It's not. Esau would be fine, trust and believe, if they had included, him on it. But no, Amalek took it all for himself, right? He pretty much said, fuck my brother, right? If he's Goyim, even though they're the same, right? Which shows you just Esau is just all in out, in and out, just a piece of shit, man. Okay. But they've always been divided against each other. They've always been fighting amongst each other. When you look at history, okay, recent history, World War II, right? Look at how much Europeans hate Russians, and they're the same people, right? Just a war like bloodthirsty, genocidal personality, man. That's why the scriptures say there is no other, there's none like Esau, man. He's in a classification of his own when it comes to wickedness. This is Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked are beareth rule, the people mourn. Right. Esau Edom is the wicked that the Bible speaks of. And the people are mourning, even his home. Okay? Because he's cutting everybody out the deal. Right? Including himself. That's why the Lord has to intervene. Okay? Because he is a danger to himself, not just the world. Right? The scriptures say no flesh should be saved. Right? If Yahweh Shai wasn't coming to intervene. Right? And this devil, he gets a thrill out of ruling this way. To him, there's no problem with what he's doing. Everything's going according to plan. He wants to depopulate the earth, right? Kill billions of people. All right. Many of them being his own. Look what he did. Look what he's doing. Right. He poisoned the food supply and food production of all America. Right. Not just portions. There's fluoride and different heavy metals in all the water. OK. He's going to cause all to receive that mark and be under subjection of or under his subjection and authority. OK. So there are no exceptions to this devil. OK, he has no mercy in him. This is Job 27 and Job 27:14. If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. Right. Because they're not even receiving enough. Right. That's why so many Americans now hate those small hats over there. Matter of fact, even Europeans, man, not understanding that, them trying to take them out or don't want to support them is not wanting to support themselves. Really, because even though Amalek is the way he is, he still represents Edom's rulership and kingship, right, over the earth. Okay, those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widows shall not weep, right? So even your own are going to be happy and applauding when you're taken out of power, man, because look what you've done. Okay. And Esau's punishment is going to be extermination, just to get that clear, right? I mean, he has suicidal tendencies already, right? So it's not really even that big of a deal, right? I mean, look what he's done to the earth. Does he not deserve it? Look at what he's done to so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Look at the offenses he's caused the Most High, right? Is he not, is it not right for him to have to receive the consequence of his deeds and punishments, and his own desires in which he had for others to not be fulfilled on himself? Okay, look what he's trying. He's trying to exterminate Jake. You got some guys who are emotional about that or feel some type of way that Esau is set to be judged in the way in which he is. But, for one, it don't matter what you think. And for two, he deserves it. This is Matthew 12:25. And Yahweh knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, And every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And we see that happening all across the board. Okay. It's not NATO and the EU fractured and going against America, right? Do not Americans hate Israelis? Okay. And they all hate the Russians, right? But yet together, the EU and the US, NATO and the US built up this empire together. But when you look at the last two world wars, they fought against each other. They killed most of the people in which who died were their own, right? And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? Right. And it's not going to, right? It's scheduled and slated to fall. It's going to have a very violent end to it. Okay. Scriptures say neighbor shall turn against neighbor, brother against sister and father. Okay. This place is completely divided. And it's all being revealed simultaneously, the truth. And the truth is assisting in that division. Okay, because it's a very, very ugly truth. All right. This is this is Sirach 14 and 4. If you deny yourself in order to accumulate wealth, you are only accumulating it for someone else. Others will use your riches to live, right? And that's exactly what Esau's doing. He's denying his own blood rights to his kingdom, right? But at the end of the day, he's building all this up for Jake to take it over. Okay? It says that in Job. How can you be generous with others if you are stingy with yourself? If you're not willing to enjoy your own wealth, right? He's stingy with himself, man. He cut his own out. All right? Just so he can have a bit more, right? Too evil for his own good. No one is worse off than someone who is stingy with himself. It is a sin that brings its own punishment, right? And that's going to be the end of his kingdom, right? Him being divided. He's going to take himself out. The scriptures say all of his allies, right? NATO's going to fire ICBMs at America, man. You know? That's how much things are going to turn. How bad it's going to get. Okay? So, thank you for all praise and glory to you. How about Shema, Shabbat, Shem, Rakakudash, Wa, Ba, and DTA, DTN.